as well. So if your son came to you today and said, "Hey, mom, I want to write a book," would you encourage him to do the same?
I absolutely would. I mean, I love the creative process of it. I love writing the book. I love thinking of the content and thinking of and I really try to deep dive.
Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I'm your host, Angela Duncan. In today's episode, I get to interview Marisha, and she has given me permission not to fumble through her last name, but she is an incredible interview. She has written several children's books. We're going to talk about what it's like to be an author, going through that process. We're going to talk about global water security, what that means, and why it's so important for women's health. We're going to talk about redox, a term I've never heard of until the episode today, but I'm always learning, and you're going to learn about that as well. She's also going to talk about being an international traveler, some tips for moms out there who do get to travel with their children for their business, and so much more. Check out today's episode. Hi, Marisha. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast.
Hi, Angela. I'm honored to be here.
Yes, I'm super excited for today's episode. You are a globetrotter, but I would love to first talk about your journey and kind of how you got to what you're doing today.
All right. Listen, I'm so happy to be here, Angela. I'm an international consultant, a mother, an author. My career has taken me around the world. I work on water security issues, climate resilience, sustainable development with different organizations, international organizations such as the UN. And so the whole thrust of my work has been about restoring balance to, the ecosystems of the planet, and namely in terms of water. But my journey isn't just about balancing ecosystems. It's also a deeply personal journey where I've lived across several continents, and as a mother, as a working mother, I've had to juggle demanding roles, the globe-trotting lifestyle, living in several different countries around the world. So I've experienced firsthand how the pressures of modern life can leave us feeling drained, out of sync, even burnt out. So yeah, and that realization led me to discover other things that I think we'll talk about later.
All right, team, that's where it cut off there. All right, we'll jump back in. Marisha, I love talking to people who have traveled the world because I think you get the opportunity to see not only women and motherhood, I'm here in the US, but in other parts of the world too. So let's go ahead and dive into what you're studying and how that can relate to women's health. So go ahead and just take it away.
So I'm, a big part of my career in the past 20 years has been working on water and water security. So how to keep our waters clean and enough water supply for our cities, for our fields, to grow food. So that has been really the work that I've done at an international level with policy think tanks, the United Nations. I've authored several reports on water security for these different organizations. And then, because of the work that I've been doing, and thanks to the international career that I've had, I've come into contact with a lot of different people, right? And with my science background as well, I stumbled upon a certain day upon this new technology that I'm really excited about, and that helps empower everybody, but women in particular. We have very demanding lives, don't we, Angela? And this technology, I don't know if this is a time you want me to talk about it, but it's called redox signaling molecules. And it's a very powerful, fantastic technology that helps our cells repair, detect damage, repair them, replace them if needed. So it's been transformational in my life because it's brought me a lot of energy and balance in my own body and in my own well-being. And so I'm passionate about sharing this technology with others now, and that discovery, because I have also been authoring in books. I'm an author of activity books for kids. I have a series called My Globetrotter Book that were actually promoted by Air France in Paris, even at the airports. And from that work and that passion about expanding kids' horizons to different cultures and customs around the world, I then, when I stumbled upon this fabulous redox technology and science, I took a deep dive into the world of the cells in our bodies. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so fascinating. I want kids to know about this world inside us as well. And then I went on and wrote my Body Trotter book for kids to discover how their cells work inside their bodies and to marvel at how extraordinary our bodies are.
Great information. Now, you've had the opportunity to travel quite a bit as a mother. Can you give some advice? I mean, obviously, your travel is a bit more broad, international, but here in the US, oftentimes we can be a business owner and traveling could be part of our business. How do you kind of, balance that with being a mother? Maybe some tips that you learned along the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's on so many different levels, whether it's how to organize family life before, during your travel, or and after you get back, or how to stay healthy on the road and balanced, and keep your stamina up. So, and even, right now, I'm in Bangkok, Thailand. It's 11:30 at night, and I'm getting onto this onto this podcast almost in the middle of the night. So I mean, of course, the basics, right? And this is what I teach in my Body Charter book for kids as well. The basics of nutrition and movement, staying active while and keeping that routine of moving your body, however feels good to you, while on the road. Hydration is huge, especially if you're getting on planes and shifting time zones, and hydration. And then when you learn about how cells work, hydration is just foundational to how our cells detox and function and produce energy and fuel us. So nutrition, hydration, movement, sleep. Sleep is the big one, right? Isn't it? And it's so evasive for so many of us, especially when we're traveling and across different time zones. So I really am lucky because I sleep easily, but then, things kick in at a certain age and you sleep less well. And this is where this redox technology has been so helpful to me to be able to find better sleep. And then the mindset, in my book, in my Body Trotter book, I do have a page teaching kids about mindset and how to keep your thoughts, how to pay attention to your thoughts and how you're feeling, and to work with all of that world as well within us. So those are some of the things that some of the tricks that I've developed along the way to stay balanced as I travel, and then stay connected to your family life, and for your children to, how to involve your children also when you're traveling. If you're moving around, involve them, have them scope out what's around your hotel. Kids are so much better than we are on all these Google Maps and all these, have them find out how to get from the airport to the hotel, or involve them in your travel so that you can stay connected to your kids while on the road.
Yeah, those are some great tips, not only for taking care of yourself, but also taking care of your children and then teaching them about their surroundings. That's a great tip as well. And utilizing them and teaching them from a very early age how to navigate around and teaching them about their surroundings when they are in different places. So I love all of those tips. I want to back up a little bit. You mentioned that you're an author and you have several books. So when you decided to start the journey of writing your first book, what kind of inspired you to write that first book, and then talk about, maybe something that you learned along the way of becoming an author?
Yeah. Good question, Angela. I love that question. So I did first concoct up this idea. I mean, it was like an aha moment, like many of the things that we do that we're very scared of doing. And then this little nagging voice that keeps telling you, do it, do it, do it, do it, until you finally break down and say, okay, I'll try, I'll try. So, so the inspiration came from my travels, and especially in the US. Actually, it was in the US. One summer, my son must have been about 8, 9 years old. We were traveling in the western part of the U.S. in the Rocky Mountains, and your beautiful parks out there. And there were these little guides, brochures that were given to kids with activities, and then they get the Junior Ranger program series, I think it's called. Anyways, my son was so involved, so excited, and he was learning so much and really engaged in the discovery of these different parks. And so when I came back to Bangkok, we were living in Thailand already at the time. And I came back, and one day I'm like, oh my gosh, why isn't there this kind of material or book or booklet for kids wherever I go? And then it stayed with me, and it just, like, as I said, gnawed at me for maybe almost 2 years, until I finally sat down. I said, okay, I'll try it. I'll try to do it myself then. And because I've been, producing reports, and I work all the time with communications, and so I finally decided to try it. And I had been working with a designer for almost a decade by then, who's a fabulous Bulgarian designer whom I've been working all these projects with, and who's designed every one of my books. I have 7 titles now.
Nice. So give yourself permission to take time if you need to. Not everyone writes a book immediately when the idea comes. Hire a professional to help you with the design piece of it if it's not your, great strength. So those are some great tips for somebody who might be thinking about writing a book as well. So if your son came to you today and said, "Hey, mom, I want to write a book," would you encourage him to do the same?
I absolutely would. I mean, I love the creative process of it. I love writing the book. I love thinking of the content and thinking of and I really try to dive deeper than just saying this is the Eiffel Tower and it was built in such and such a year. And I really try to go into, I have pages on how to be polite in cultures where that matters, like Thailand or Japan. I have pages on food. Food is such a great exploration and globetrotting adventure. I have pages on some of the different, like, what happens, what does a monk do during his day, or what did Louis the 16th do in the Chateau de Versailles, so in Paris. So I mean, I have these different, I really try to take a more deeper dive into the culture and the customs. And so the creative process is really what I love and thrive to do. I would tell him or caution him would be like, after that, once you've published the book, it's great. You think it's woohoo, you're excited. But then a whole other chapter and career develops from that, and in terms of marketing and promotion. And that's where I found that for me has been the big learning curve, and where it's always more of a challenge. And I would caution him about, make sure you've got that part thought up, perhaps a bit better than I had initially.
Awesome, Marisha. If our audience wants to get in touch with you, learn more about your books or how you are leading the way on global water and global health, how do they reach you?
So I have a website. It's myglobetrotterbook.com, and I have a page, a tab there where you can email me. Otherwise, email me at globetrotter@myglobetrotterbook.com. I'd be happy to connect.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Angela.
Are you a business owner looking to increase your profit? Imagine transforming every podcast guest appearance to profit. It's your turn to shine as a podcast guest. I have created a course just for you. It's the secret to profiting from podcasting and being a guest. Go to podcastmoneymagnet.com today and check out this incredible course that's going to teach you how to grow your brand and grow your bank account. Feel the shift as you master being a podcast guest. Podcastmoneymagnet.com today.